Hey, everybody. So glad you're with us. This is the Linda Cohn Show. I am Linda Cohn. Have you noticed a difference? Yeah, I'm smiling, but I always smile. If I'm smiling, I'm laughing, or I'm just glad you're with me. But I listen to you, those who have subscribed, because I listen to them first. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel at Linda Cohn Sports so you can get everything from the Linda Cohn Show, and every clip that my friend Dominic puts up there, you will get notified right away. And we are up in those subscribers as we speak, and we are going to have so much fun today. So I mentioned I listen to you guys. A few of you said, "Hey, Linda, you're big time. Where's the microphone?" Here's the microphone. I got a microphone, and it wasn't cheap. Okay, I spent some money. So hopefully there's a difference. Dominic says there's a difference in the voice quality. I'll still shout if I want to. I'll still raise my voice. I'll still have a calm tone, whatever. But now we have a microphone. So that's number one. Number two, you know who made my day today? Aaron Rodgers made my day. I'm deciding what the heck to put on the show. What should I lead with on the show? And we are going to talk about a lot of different topics. And man, I am on fire, just like Aaron Rodgers was on fire. He's been such a happy guy of late. I just love this kind of Aaron Rodgers. He's just been positive. First, a few hours ago, I read that there was a report, and it's true because Aaron Rodgers confirmed it, that head coach Mike McCarthy of the Pittsburgh Steelers asked Aaron Rodgers if he could play the first two preseason games that the Steelers have, take about 30 to 40 snaps. And you know what Rodgers said? He's like, "Mike, if you want me to do that, I'll do that." How about that? That's great. If you're a Steelers fan, you got to be excited. The reunion is working out perfectly so far. I mean, Aaron is like, you can tell he's just happy to be back with Mike McCarthy. And I really do feel this year is going to be huge for him. So Steelers fans, you got to be ecstatic. I mean, these two won a Super Bowl together in Green Bay. And so let me tell you something else that is making me so excited about Aaron Rodgers. We have heard recently in the past few days, I heard over the weekend, he had this great sit down with Kyle Brandt. But anyway, he was talking about his wife and what she has meant to him. Again, I think I mentioned this before in one of those shows. His wife was the one that told him, yes, go back to the Steelers, play for another year. And he said, "Okay, honey, I'll do that." And then it's his wife in the last couple of years has worked on getting Aaron Rodgers back with his family. They've been estranged for almost a decade now. And, Aaron spoke about, how he is back with his family, and he's an uncle, and he's seeing his nephews and nieces, all these great things. And that makes me happy. And you want a happy Aaron Rodgers. But on Monday, which is today as we speak, he made me smile. He made me crack up because you know about Aaron Rodgers in the past during the whole COVID stuff. He was accused of being, unvaccinated or immunized or whatever he called himself. And there were many networks and many media outlets, and they know who they are, who ripped Aaron Rodgers, calling him a conspiracy theorist when it came to COVID and the vaccine and all this. So let me tell you something. Pat McAfee did not know what he was in for when he sat Aaron Rodgers down for his usual guest spot. Roll it, Dominic.
And you talked about your wife saying, "Hey, have another year." Mike McCarthy being here, obviously a big deal. Can you tell us about the mindset of coming into your last season? Like, that's a real thing, it feels like, because is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
That's a smart move.
Okay.
Like
Gotta love that guy.
Okay.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
Hey, it's back,
Are
baby.
you kidding me?
Yeah, 111
You got a
times.
pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times
Yeah.
at the White House. What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question.
Yeah.
What are we
it,
doing?
baby.
And how much time did the network spend at that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding?
Yeah!
Did they do even a minute? Did they do even a minute on Tony Fauci?
No, I don't think I've heard
Nah, I
anything.
bet they didn't.
But on that note,
Then there was another scandal this offseason, too, involving a voter for MVP, for Coach of the Year. How much time did your network spend? Where's your
Whoa!
Kim? Did your network spend on
our
that?
network.
I wish I
How
could
much time did you
Go back
spend?
to Fauci.
This
I wish
is awesome.
I could
How much time?
Fauci.
This is awesome.
Okay.
Go back to Fauci?
Yeah.
Go back to the coward Tony Fauci and his science?
Hold on now.
Who's spending the entire time writing in his diary about how fun it is to be famous? You got to be kidding me.
Okay, so on that note,
What are you going to say about me now?
Debate him,
What are you going to say about me
debate him.
no,
now?
I got no debate here. You had a 500.
No, seriously, what are they going to say about me now? Now that you can't talk about the COVID stuff because obviously it was made, in a lab in China. That's like not even questionable anymore. Tony Fauci is an absolute criminal. I'm on good terms with my family. I'm on good terms with my family. What are you going to say now? What are you going to say
I
now?
want to let you know. It's been a fun ride for you, I would assume, over the last
It's
couple.
been a great life and a great career. And it's nice to be sitting on this side now, especially after that coward played the fifth over 100 times.
Okay.
I thought you had a part in there, Tony. Why couldn't you answer one question the entire time?
Okay,
Why
we
not?
got 4 minutes until the heart out.
Yeah, I got
do-
4
do
more
feel
minutes.
like-
We
I
can keep
got
this
more.
shit going. We
I
can
do
keep it
feel
going.
like I
Anything
should-
else?
I got at least 4 minutes.
Okay, okay.
Let me tell you something. Aaron Rodgers is a piece of work. You got to love him. Whatever side of the fence you stand on, I love it. I agree. He was preaching to the choir. He has the guts to say what he means, never hesitated. Pat McAfee was there as we speak. But there's another former NFL quarterback turned NFL analyst. That's not Tom Brady. It's Tony Romo, and he's in big trouble. And this is the first time we're talking about what's going on with Tony Romo. Let's talk about the mess. Back on July 23rd, you remember, happened in Milwaukee. Romo was cited for his first offense, which was operated while intoxicated. This is Wisconsin's equivalent, because this happened in Milwaukee. It's Wisconsin's equivalent of a DUI. That's what happened to Tony Romo, okay? And under Wisconsin law, if you don't know this, I didn't know it, I had to look it up. A first offense, OWI, is generally handled as a civil offense, and it's not a criminal misdemeanor. Okay, keep that in mind, keep that in your knowledge. So he's due back in court September 21st, Tony Romo. Now, CBS has since put Romo on leave. JJ Watt will replace him in the booth. That's the top broadcast booth of CBS alongside Jim Nantz, right? Because Tony Romo was their number one NFL analyst. But his poor decision-making, boy, let me tell you something. The timing couldn't be worse for Tony Romo. Why? Because it gives CBS an out to get rid of him. That's right. Yeah, remember when Tony broke into the broadcast booth? He was like on fire. People loved him. He would predict plays before they happened. People were amazed. They had never seen anything like this. I mean, this was what the talk was in the media. Everyone was like, he's a media darling. Everybody loves Tony Romo. But, in the last few years, the novelty wore off. His lack of preparation was exposed. It was glaring when he did a telecast. His analysis, it just wasn't as sharp. The crystal ball, I think, malfunctioned because he wasn't on target as much as he was regarding predicting the future in games. And it became really noticeable. And CBS execs noticed it as well. And they heard the chatter about Tony Romo. And then when he signed back in 2020, it was a 10-year, $180 million contract with CBS. A lot of his CBS colleagues, people in the business, were like, wait, what? Of course, there was jealousy and bitterness. But then as the days went on and the years went on, Tony was getting, he lost that magic that he had. And so here's what I think is going to happen. First of all, I think this is the out that CBS has been looking for. It's right there on a silver platter. They have not been happy with Tony Romo's work the last couple of years. And if Tony Romo was still considered the best analyst in football, I don't think CBS would be that quick to replace him with JJ Watt. They were that quick to replace him with JJ Watt in the booth. I mean, what Romo did was clueless and potentially dangerous to others and to himself. But depending on how this plays out in court, is this a fireable offense? I don't know what his contract says. I don't know if CBS or Tony Romo would be happy to just be demoted to like the number 2 team or the number 3 team for CBS doing NFL games. I think the optics wouldn't look good. So here's what I think is going to happen. I'm going to look into my crystal ball. I think these two will mutually part. I think once the legal mess is over, I think CBS is going to say, you know what? I don't see you working with us anymore. And, Tony Romo is going to say, I don't want to work with you anymore. They'll probably mutually agree on a financial settlement because he still owed millions of dollars. Like I said, back in 2020, he signed that 10-year, $180 million contract with CBS. So I think a financial agreement will be reached between the two. I think Romo will take this season off and get his act together and reboot, recharge, and hopefully a lesson learned, and come back better than ever and start working with another network, because he will get another chance. This was his first offense. What he did was bad. It was bad decision making, but I have seen, and you have seen, worse, and people are forgiven for worse. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another job somewhere else. But it's like, let that be a lesson to anybody, all of us. And I want to hear from you in the chat box, okay? I didn't mention that before. I like when you give your comments and Dominic can put them up. But, Tony Romo went from the hottest thing on sliced bread when it comes to NFL analysis to being what? Not good. Just like that. Not good. So it shows that everyone is replaceable in this business. I think so. Everyone is replaceable. Do you disagree? Do you think there's an analyst out there in any sport, that is irreplaceable, that you would be lost without him or her? I don't think so. I don't think there's anyone out there in today's day and age. And that's how quick it has happened to Tony Romo. All right. The Los Angeles Dodgers. Man, did they create an uproar, didn't they? They over the weekend, they traded for Tarek Skubal of the Detroit Tigers. We all saw this coming. We knew it was going to happen. The Dodgers keep loading up on MVPs, on Cy Young Award winners. Skubal's a 2-time Cy Young winner with the Detroit Tigers, by the way. He's something else. And they already have a great rotation. We know that. And the Dodgers were already the favorites to win everything. We know that. And now they're even a bigger favorite to win everything. But as soon as this happened, okay, people were like, baseball fans, mass hysteria. Oh, this is going to kill baseball. This is unfair. Let me tell you something. I disagree. Some would say the Dodgers are the evil empire. I say not at all. They are not the evil empire like the Yankees used to be. No, the Dodgers are not the evil empire. They just happen to get it right. They just happen to be the gold standard. They just figured it out. Yes, they have the money, but they also have great management. They also know how to develop players. They also know how to draft consistently great. Do the owners, do the management of your favorite baseball team, can they say the same? No. Do the owners of your favorite baseball team, could they have figured out or allowed their general manager to put together a package for Tarek Skubal and perhaps pull off a trade of their own? They could have. It's baseball. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking, Linda, baseball should have a salary cap like all these other sports. Yeah, they probably should have a salary cap, but are they going to get it? I don't see it happening. Owners, they give up. They try sticking to their gun and say, we want a salary cap. The CBA ends and they hold out for a while. And I don't think right now, my gut tells me, baseball fans, and I know you're out there, you're probably all over 50, but I know you're out there. There's not going to be baseball. There's not going to be baseball next year. The CBA ends at the end of 2026. This is going to be a major sticking point, the salary cap. We knew this was coming. And now the Dodgers are the big bad guys. The Dodgers are the so-called evil empire. And I just don't buy it. Folks, they're the gold standard. This is what your team, what you want your team, your management, your owner, your GM, your incomplete staff to be like. The Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers found some loopholes and they used it to their advantage. We see this in the National Hockey League. I know you may or may not follow the National Hockey League, but the Tampa Bay Lightning used to do this in different ways. And the Vegas Golden Knights have done this in different ways. They find loopholes. They don't break any rules. The Dodgers have not broken any rules. So, and I'm not a Dodger fan. Come on, I'm a Met fan. You know that. And shout out to the 1986 team. They celebrated the 86 team over the weekend. But I'm not a Dodger fan, but they didn't do anything wrong. They're using the system to their advantage. So what's the problem? Are we going to have baseball? What do you think? Are they the gold standard or are they the evil empire? Because I feel they are the gold standard and you wish your team operated like the Los Angeles Dodgers. And it's going to take a miracle. And we've seen miracles in baseball's postseason, by the way, for them to not win, not three-peat, not do it. And they are all in. And I don't think, I mean, if they stay healthy, I'd be shocked if they don't go back to back to back. They're already the two-time reigning champ, and now they're going for the hat trick. And man, that Tarek Skubal is one fine pitcher. And they already have great guys, as you know. So they are the gold standard. That is for sure. All right, you know what? I tried to find a reason. I really did, guys. I tried to find a reason not to talk and criticize the WNBA in this show. But they once again pull me back in. I'm laughing, but it's really sad. They just keep pulling me back in. I literally was like, talking to Dominic before the show. I was like, do I really want to talk about this? I was talking to him yesterday about it. I'm like, you know what? As the hours went by, I'm like, I have to. It's their fault. So let me get at it. Let me get into it. First of all, I'm going to start with an easy one, the on-court stuff. The never-ending, crappy officiating from the WNBA. The incompetence of this officiating. The latest blatant example came against Minnesota when Sophie Cunningham, of course, guard for the Indiana Fever, she took a hard elbow to the face from forward Nia Coffey. I couldn't believe her head wasn't still attached. So you would have thought, oh, there's a foul called on the Minnesota player, Coffey. Now, there was a foul called, but remarkably, it was on Sophie Cunningham. That's right. And then they went to video review, and I thought, I was watching the game. They went to video review, the officials, and I thought, oh, they'll straighten this out. It's obvious a misunderstanding. They want to get the call right, and that's why we have video. They stood over that video longer than any human should have. And guess what? Did they reverse the call? Did they make it a non-call? Did they give Coffey the call, meaning that she was the guilty party? No. They stayed with their first decision. They said, no, Sophie Cunningham deserved the foul. And Sophie's like looking up and like, are you kidding me? My issue was, unless I missed it, I didn't see Sophie Cunningham's head coach, Stephanie White, come to her aid like all head coaches should when, number one, their player gets elbowed in the face, and number two, when they did not get the call that they deserved that would have helped the team. Now, Indiana ends up losing to Minnesota. I think it was by 8 points, but this is ridiculous. Were the officials trying to send a message to Sophie Cunningham? I know she's the most polarizing player in the league, but be better. How many times do we have to say this? They are the worst officiating. It's the worst officiating I've ever seen in any professional sport. And they don't change my mind. So listen, Now we have to talk about the other part of Sophie Cunningham. Yes, I mentioned she's the most polarizing player in the WNBA, probably in all of sports right now, since she, made it clear what she's passionate about. She spoke about allowing what she called biological men playing on a women's sports team or being in a girls' locker room. That is a safe space for women. She is against what she calls biological men being in that space. Others would call it transgender girls being in that space. But you get what's going on, okay? While this is not an issue in the WNBA as we speak, as we've heard from a bevy of coaches in the WNBA, what these coaches forget to point out, and the reason why Sophie Cunningham has to say this and why there are protests of support and protest against Sophie. We saw that in Portland. We saw that in Minnesota. They forget to mention that there are 23 states, plus the District of Columbia, I looked this up, that allow this to happen. Biological men can compete in women's sports and be in locker rooms. Transgender girls, which are also biological men, can do this in 23 states. But when you listen to these WNBA coaches, and there were a couple that spoke out, you would think this doesn't happen. You would think this was a made-up narrative. That why does 80% of this country believe in what Sophie Cunningham is saying and stating, and isn't she allowed to say it? I said that in the last show. When is that a crime against humanity when you're allowed? This is a free country. You have this free speech. You can speak up. You don't have to agree with it, and you can create and debate it, but you do not bully the person you don't agree with. I mean, isn't this common sense? Well, I mentioned the several WNBA head coaches. We already heard last week from Stephanie White, Sophie Cunningham's same coach, who apparently didn't know the difference between a man and a woman. You can just Google that and look up what she said. I'm not going to waste anybody's time on that. But Cheryl Reeve, the Minnesota Lynx head coach, this was Sunday, okay? She, first of all, pregame, had a conversation with Sophie Cunningham, and the cameras picked that up. When asked about it, of course, she didn't say, she was not going to say to any of the reporters what that conversation was about, but we can guess. But then she goes to the sideline for this game against Sophie's Indiana Fever, and she's wearing a shirt under her blazer that reads, "Trans girls belong." Trans girls belong. Now, Sophie Cunningham never said trans kids don't belong. She never said she was against trans. She has repeated that multiple times. She just said those who were born male should not be in women's spaces. Now, the head coach, you're looking at her, Cheryl Reeve in Minnesota, said this before the game on Sunday. She mentioned and accused Sophie of using, and others, of using a narrative that said transgender athletes are the biggest problem in sports. Sophie Cunningham never said transgender athletes are the biggest problems in sports. Not true. Reeve also said transgender athletes should not be excluded. And that's not all she said before the game in which the Lynx played the Fever. Roll it, Dominic.
More and more transgenders in our country as years go by. There's going to come a time. I've encouraged, just years ago, I encouraged the WNBA leadership. What's our stance? What are we going to do when this occurs? Are we going to be ready? Are we going to be reactionary? And so I think it would make sense for our league to be leaders in this space.
So she wants leaders in this space in her league. She's been talking about this for a while. As we all know, this situation has not affected the WNBA. And that's why a lot of WNBA coaches are saying, why are you even talking about this? This is not affecting our league, the WNBA. But look at Cheryl Reeve. She thinks it's going to be affecting the WNBA, and she's been talking about it for a while. She just said that. Also Sunday, following Cheryl Reeve talking about how she felt and she told her thoughts to the media. The coach of the Golden State team, the Valkyries, okay, she was asked, her name is Natalie Nakase. And Coach Nakase was asked by reporters where she stood on this issue. Roll it, Dominic.
For me, sports is about belonging. It's about inclusivity. It's about allowing everyone to be their authentic self. I'm big on that just because I have been criticized for my height, for my ethnicity. I've been in those "you shouldn't belong here" many times. And for me, I don't want that space, especially Golden State, to ever feel like that. So I'm all about women, little girls deserving to play, and that includes trans women. So I'm all about inclusivity.
Okay, I don't get the height thing and all the other comparisons to it, but I think many of these coaches got the same memo. We have some WNBA head coaches not talking about it all. We have some averting the subject, like talking about something else, at least kind of speaking on it. And then we have several coaches that you just heard here. And I bring this out on this show because I'm just trying to understand. Did they all get the same memo? I don't understand. Aren't they there to protect women's sports? Didn't they fight for that? What's going to happen if, as Cheryl Reeve, the Minnesota coach, thinks it's going to happen when this issue really approaches the WNBA? And they're going to have to figure this out and make a decision. And until that happens, I don't think this is going to change. I don't think their stance is going to change. It's easy for them to say now, because it doesn't directly affect them, that inclusivity is all that matters. Isn't sports about competition, earning a spot on the team, right? Working hard. Young girls, young women in sports have had to work so hard to be acknowledged, to get scholarships, to get equal pay, to do all of this. And it really would be a shame if things change, because women have really come a long way, baby, as they used to say. But I don't understand. I mean, help me to understand, as I like to say. Help me to understand. Am I wrong? Am I crazy? I don't know. But I wanted you guys to hear what these coaches had to say. You already heard what Sophie Cunningham had to say. These coaches have their say. Will this change? I mean, let me know. Let me know in the chat box, if this interests you. But still, the officiating sucks in the WNBA, first and foremost, the stuff on the court. Okay. Remember Kenny Mayne? Last show, we had part 1. Now we're going to do part 2. Kenny talked about back in the day in part 1. And part 2, we talked a little bit of back in the day and some of the things he likes. He still makes me laugh. I thought it was important to run a part 2 because I wanted you to know what he's into and what he's been doing lately. And I think it's really fascinating. I think it's going to surprise you. So let's hear more, part 2 of my interview with my former ESPN colleague, Kenny Mayne. Roll it, Dominic. I always was amazed how much you love horse racing. And, again, ESPN allowed you, and it was wonderful for you. You attended all of these big events, Kentucky Derby. Meanwhile, in the background, Babs is agreeing. She's going crazy, rolling around.
Hear.
I know. Great.
Yeah.
But
and my wife is from Saratoga Springs area, which is
perfect.
One of the great institutions in American racing. They built that track during the Civil War. I mean, who thought that's like, hey, we have this big war going on, but let's build a racetrack because we're going to want some action after this war wraps up. I mean, I don't know what they were thinking.
So where'd that come from? Where's that love of horse racing?
I grew up south of Seattle, and while you were in Seattle working, Longacres was still there, right? It was closing down about just right before you left.
Yeah.
And Longacres was beautiful old track. You can Mount Rainier in the distance and the poplar trees. And we had some pretty good horses that raced there. They weren't like, Santa Anita style or Saratoga style, but Fort Washington, for being a smaller horse racing community, there was, in fact, Chinook Pass won an Eclipse Award. But it's a beautiful old track. I started going there I think when I was 7 or 8 years old with my mom first, and then my uncle Gordy, my dad now and then later my friends. And it was just sort of in my blood. It was kind of like the escape. You know, other people go out to a movie, we'd run down the track for 2 races. It was just like a fun thing to do. And I knew enough about it and cared enough about it that when I got to ESPN, I kept kind of hinting like, hey, I could definitely be involved in football and horse racing are two things I care about and know. And they finally let me do both. So it worked out.
Did you ever own a horse? And if you did, what would you name it?
I owned a tiny piece of 2 different horses. There's a couple friends of mine, Gary Fenton and Billy Koch. They have this group called Little Red Feather. They're doing really well now. They have all sorts of investors. They started very small. I was tiny percentage owner with a horse called Guts Game. I think Tom Brady was in on that same partnership. They got a whole bunch of people to throw in, you know, whatever various amounts. And so, you know, we owned 2% or whatever. That horse, average at best. They got rid of it at some point. The one that was sad is I bought another small stake in a horse called Kilogram, and it got hurt. They had to do some ankle chip surgery. And it was fine on the surgery, but it got up out of anesthetics and fell down and did something. They had to let that horse go. So that hurt because you really do look at it like you care. You know, some people think there's this callousness that's untrue. Like they treat them so well. It's terrible that there are injuries, but unfortunately we lost that one. I haven't done another one since. So I guess the two, I mean, I grew up on bicycles, calling horse races, racing down the I-5 to Seattle, calling it as a horse race, blue van moving up on the inside, you know, like it was just always in my blood. And in fact, in Las Vegas, after I finished playing football, for a couple months, I was a horse race announcer at the old sports books where people, like now, people who've been to Vegas know that almost every hotel has a big sports book, right? And you got 100 screens, everything's going. In the old days, not many racetracks put out their feed. There was only 1 or 2. So most people would go to a sports book, make their bet, and they just sit in a chair and listen to somebody pretend to call a race, which was me for a couple months. So we'd get the info from the guy at the track and then recreate the race.
You know, I'm thinking back today, I was thinking back of our Seattle days and how, you know, how much I love music as well as I love sports. And I know you do as well. And you think about, you know, Seattle and grunge and all that kind of thing. And I thought about who are the most, for me, and I know you're going to say who for you, meeting and being associated with Pearl Jam and Eddie and all these kind of things. And I thought about it. It reminded, because I was thinking about music and you and Seattle. And I was like, then I got a flashback. When I was at KIRO TV, Kenny, I couldn't believe it. The Wilson sisters, Ann and Nancy Wilson of Heart, came into Cairo. I was already a fan of theirs. And, you know, I had their Dreamboat Annie album in college, all these, you know, all this kind of stuff. And they could not have been nicer. And I was like groupie gal. And
that's funny.
That's what was so cool about working in Seattle, right?
It's like small town, big town at the same time. I mean, it's like the 13th biggest market in the country, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood when you count the whole area. But it still has like Rod Long, remember the old comedian? You might have run into him. He always said it's like Mayberry with skyscrapers. That's a pretty good description because it still feels like you see the same people, you know, but it's definitely expanded more recently. But yeah, I mean, the music for years and years has been great. You know, go back to Jimi Hendrix, and you know, the list is long. And then there was that big explosion you were talking about in the 90s. Did you ever see Heart do the tribute for Led Zeppelin?
Yeah, of course I have. I saw it the other day.
Amazing.
I couldn't go to bed last night. All I was doing is scrolling through music videos.
Oh yeah,
and
I do.
That
the same.
always comes up. Robert Plant crying.
It's a great one. Oh
yeah. You know, Ann she's amazing. Thank God she had some health issues recently, but she seems to be doing okay. I had a girl crush on Nancy. That video's in the 80s. I'm not going to lie. You know, How Do I Get You Alone? That song Alone, those videos. She's there with a guitar like Eddie Van Halen, you know, and looking beautiful. And I'm like, I never saw a woman play guitar like that and be such a rocker. You know, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
When I was trying to get to ESPN, that period, you know, where I was doing, I made garbage cans. I ran out of them. Then I sold prepaid legal insurance at a telemarketing place. Then I worked for MCI selling long distance. And during all that time, I was doing freelance assignments for ESPN, Prime Ticket, what's the TSN in Canada,
Yeah.
NBA Entertainment. Sometimes I would call, like say the Chiefs were coming to town. I would call every station in Kansas City, ask, "Are you coming to the game?" Most of them said yes. That you
Of
got to
course.
travel some for cover,
Yeah.
but some of them didn't. So I'd pitch them, well, I'm already here. I can hire a camera. I can be your guy. I'll go interview your key guys. It'll look like you were there. You'll get, the one-on-one type interviews. So the only problem with it was, you don't know everybody by face. And the visitors locker room doesn't have nameplates. So, you almost had to like depose the guy to find out what. So how'd you guys play on your side of the ball? And then, okay, now he plays defense. Now he's kind of big. Is he a lineman? Is he a linebacker? So I didn't always perfect that role, but I was hustling for work. So during that time, NBA Entertainment, remember, it was Ahmad Rashad, formerly Bobby Moore of Tacoma, Washington, Oregon
Right.
Ducks,
Right.
and Willow Bay, who's now a
Yes.
USC big shot, right?
She's
And
still
they had
married
that
to Bob
show.
Iger.
What was it? Yeah. What was it
Yeah.
called? Inside Stuff? Inside
Yeah.
Stuff?
Yeah.
And they commissioned me, and they paid way better than ESPN, by the way. ESPN paid the
Stop it.
same number whether I worked 1 minute or 20 hours. It didn't matter. Jeff Herman and Gil Parmalee, they're going to send me the paperwork, $250, whatever that is. So I got sent to the Coliseum for Ahmad and Willow show. And Jeff Ament of Pearl Jam and Sean Kemp of the Sonics were making a poster from, remember the Costacos brothers? They made all the cool posters.
Yeah.
And I did a story about their relationship and interviewed them about the shoot. And that's kind of how Jeff and I became friends soon after that.
Okay, cool.
And those were good days.
Yeah, they were
They were
great.
scrappy days. I was like hustling for, I'm kind of doing that now, to be honest. It's like I've come full circle where I'm in better condition to afford to do that. But it's not like, we're not tycoons over here. I still want to bring in more just to, stay afloat, but also to be active, mostly to be active, honestly.
I want to get to that because you're doing some really great things, post ESPN, and you have been doing great things. I had mentioned, of course, the podcast, We Need a Fourth with Cooper Manning and Brian Baumgartner, fun stuff but I really want to hear more about, your Run Freely Foundation, how long you've been doing that and why is that important to you?
Yeah. So it's runfreely.org. Not that I shouldn't mention my greeting card line, which is love.
I was going to get to that. But I wanted to do the charitable thing first.
So I wrecked my ankle at Oregon. I was a junior at UNLV. We were getting beat at Oregon. Oregon was pretty good that year, actually. Reggie Ogburn at quarterback. And this is 1980. This is a long time ago. So I'm in at the end. Game's over. It's 30-9 or whatever the score was. But I call one more all-go route. Why not? It's raining. Terrible. It's kind of slipped. Just as I let it go, some idiot comes from my blind side, sticks his helmet on my ankle. And so the players, the game's over now. They're shaking hands. They're picking up cheerleaders, doing whatever.
You're lying there?
I'm literally on the ground, like this. There's a picture of it on the website. If you go to runfreely.org.
We'll put it in the interview.
Yeah. And I came back and played one more year, but I had a fracture dislocation, which is not a great injury to get. I remember the defensive coordinator gave me a scotch and water on the airplane back to Vegas and had surgery the next day. I'm wondering, was it wise to get on an airplane right after a broken, like a fracture disc? Maybe medicine was different. People were tougher back then. People were tougher back then. So I come back and play the next year, and I already told you the Seahawks thing. That's a long time ago. When you're 20, 21, you can't do stuff doesn't hurt the same way, right? But every decade I had bone spurs taken out and metal in and metal out. I had all these surgeries. And by the time I turned about 50, it was in really bad shape. Like so bad, I was not joking considering cutting it off. Like it hurt every day.
Really?
Right? I'm taking pain pills, the whole thing. I found a great therapist in Kirkland, a guy named Nino Pribic. And I found a leg brace in California from a guy named Marmaduke Loke. Okay. And it was a good brace. No offense to him, but I think I upgraded when I got my next brace. So I got this, and they don't even like calling it a brace. They call it a device. This guy in Gig Harbor named Ryan Blanc puts me in this thing, and I literally could run on day one. And
Oh.
if with this device in my shoe, so it's like you put your leg in the device, then you put the device in your shoe. It's a little cumbersome, but it takes 3 minutes, whatever. And since that time, I just played golf yesterday. I'm feeling great today, no pain. But if I just wore like regular tennis shoes or golf shoes and
Yeah.
did anything, half hour pickleball, whatever, I'd be dying. I'd be limping around. So this thing has changed my life. And Gretchen and I, we kind of like came to it at the same time. I was calling her on the phone and I couldn't even talk. I was crying because I couldn't believe what had just happened. That, it just changed my life. And we both said, let's do something good about it. So we formed a foundation, and we've helped. I'd have to count it up. We got to be in the 60s by now, like veterans who have a leg like mine or worse.
Right.
And it's like you keep your bad leg, nothing gets fixed, but you stick this thing on, and now you can do stuff you can't do otherwise. So it's as simple as that. It takes the pain away.
That's great. That is such a great thing.
It's called Run Freely, runfreely.org.
Okay, cool. You mentioned the greeting cards. Love Kenny.
Yes.
Tell
So
me.
my niece Winnie, when she turned 1, went down to Gig Harbor for her birthday, and we didn't have a card. I was like, what does it matter? She's 1. She's like, she can't read. Like, what does it matter? So I made a card. I just took a piece of paper and folded it and said, you are 1, you cannot read. And for 10 years since that day, I've tried to figure out, I want to do that joke and 100 more.
Right.
Sort of the anti-card, like why are we giving 3-year-olds cards anyway? So I went through a couple different companies. It just never worked out. We didn't have the right relationship, and they weren't motivated to do what I wanted to do. And I had a specific thing I wanted to do, but I found these guys called lovepop.com. They have the cards where you open it and something pops up.
Pops up,
something
right?
good, right?
Very cool.
And they're good. I think they're like the 4th leading sales in card business in
all the
America.
stores. I see them in all the stores. Yeah.
So I think they got their break. Originally they were trying to go, and they went on Shark Tank and got whatever the boost there was, and they've done great since. So this guy named Wambi, that's my contact, Wambi, we love him. He liked the joke of you cannot read, like what else you got? And I just, what about this, what about this? And I also like did some legit sentimental ones, like they're not all just satirical. And so we just started. It's only been a month or two, or a couple months. I put out little fun videos to promote it. We're talking about doing some in Spanish. Hopefully they give us a long runway to kind of like take off. Like people don't even know about it. Like I'm telling, sometimes people ask, what are you up to? What have you been doing? I always mention the podcast and some other projects. And then, I got a greeting card thing too. I mean, it's quirky, but it's really fun. And I'm having a blast coming up with them, and also coming up with the bits to kind of promote it, right? We just shot a focus group with some 2 and 3-year-olds. We pretended that they had snacks, like at focus groups, they always feed them something. We're having fun, and hopefully one day people know more about it, and the 55-year-old women who buy all the cards buy the hell out of them, and everybody wins.
Yeah, it is so perfect for you because you get to be you share your humor, and like you said, it's not always all funny, but it's like the real Kenny coming out in something that does good.
Yeah, one of my other favorite ones is just bluntly, it just says, you look pregnant. That's the whole card. So just imagine you got family or your friends or younger friends going to like the baby shower, right? Everybody who goes to a baby shower, a maternity thing, or a bridal announcement or a birthday, right? Don't you all want to have the greatest gift or the greatest card, one or the other, right? You want to be, hey, they saw my card, So hopefully it appeals to people who want to bring, some humor or something different to a party.
As long as it's that kind of party. You don't want to be sending that card that says you look pregnant at a party that has nothing to do with someone having a baby.
Don't do that. In fact, I just saw a clip. I can't remember. It was from a movie series, something. It's a couple talking to a woman and going on and on about her baby, and they're and she just says, I'm not pregnant. And she just walks out of the scene. It was uncomfortable. Never say anything about a woman being pregnant unless your wife has already said it's true or the woman says it out loud. We've all should have learned that by now.
Two things before I let you go. First, oh, by the way, the Seattle Seahawks won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Where were you when that happened? You know, I mean, it's like,
it was a weird occasion for me. I went to San Francisco to play in a flag football game to support Run Freely, right? I played with a whole bunch of veterans with missing arms and legs and against ex-NFL players. We play this flag game almost every Super Bowl. We skipped a couple, but we've been doing it pretty consistent for about 10 years and sometimes during the rest of the year as well. I was trying to get into the game on the coattails of my boy Kevin from The Office, Brian Baumgartner, because he was there. He had like a big promotion with, is it Ramp? Was it Ramp? Is that the name of the company? I think so. We never connected. Maybe I was never on his short list anyway. I really can't tell you. But I wasn't going to spend 10 grand or whatever it was for a club, you know. So we played the flag game, and I was just going to be in town, run into some friends, watch the game somewhere. Some guy who played for the Patriots, his name's escaping me, hit me in that flag game with like 2 plays left. And I tweaked my knees so bad that you've been to San Francisco, right? Nob Hill, right up on top.
Yes, everything's a hill.
It hurt so bad and it was swelling. I had to take an Uber to go 400 yards up a hill, or not even 400, probably 200 yards. I couldn't walk, So I watched the game from this little bed and breakfast type of inn. There was a great place right by Nob Hill, right below it, and cheered the Seahawks on pretty much by myself. Then some random bed and breakfast people come in. They don't seem to care about the Super Bowl, but the game was on, so they stayed with me. But I was thrilled. That was my Super Bowl experience. I got to go to the House of Nanking, my favorite Chinese restaurant, and cheer my home team on, and they played great. They had a great season. I had predicted they'd win like 10, and then who knows from there. Like I think it's almost silly to really play it all the way out. It's just like, well, who's going to make the playoffs? Because once those start, doesn't hurt to have home field. Having that advantage always helps.
For sure. All right, before I let you go, my friend, I texted you this picture. I said to my producer, Dom, when we promote that you were going to be on the show, we must use.
Oh, that's terrible.
You look so, and I had sent you the picture, so you know what I'm talking about. Let's comment on it. You look dreamy. You look like a model.
Dreamy is a good word. Like I'm trying to play to the camera, but like that's my blue steel look, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. My hair's longer. I wish I had more hair now, but you got what you got. That shirt, let me think. It's kind of a golf shirt. It's like, what do you call that when it has the border, the rope or whatever?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe I just was tired. It's a weird.
I thought you look good.
I don't think it's terrible, but I'll tell you what's funny. If you ever Google yourself for some reason, you're trying to see if something's correct or whatever. There are a couple pictures. If you go deep, anybody who's had any amount of attention, I'm sure there's millions for you, and you go to the next one, next one. Yeah. There's like this photo batch. I don't know what it's called. And there's a couple where I look so bad. I wish there was a way just to purge it from existence.
Oh, I know. Well, how about this, Kenny? I won't say who did it, but when I left ESPN, so I was getting a lot of interviews and everything. And so this company, this podcast that I did, I'm not going to tell them because I already told them on the air that what are they doing? If you could find the ugliest, worst picture of me.
Oh, that's a tough one.
They put it out there and promoted it more than once.
Did you have like a
and I think it must be a guy that doesn't like Linda Cohn.
I'm not that vain. But I don't take.
But I'm not vain. But this was. No, I look like a wicked witch.
No, I was just talking about myself.
Oh, okay.
I don't have like a big ego that way. But when it's your picture going to be presented, I usually hey, can I make sure my eyes are open? Because I take horrible pictures. But there's just one. I'm going to try to find the one I hate, and I'm going to send it to you so you'll see what I mean. I just look bad. I look white, like really washed out, like sickly. And you know what it was? It was like. Those Super Bowl parties or baseball all-star weekend parties, they have you come through and they do the celebrity photo and there's like hot lights and like, it was bad. So hopefully we're judged on our whole career. And I'm starting to like this picture. I'll see if Gretchen likes it. It's kind of sad because I've shown her a couple pictures like my college years or a little after, and she seems like that guy more than the current me. I'm kind of sad about that. You missed out,
Yes.
you know?
There's a bit of an age difference to the young Kenny and the older
Yeah.
Kenny. I'm not saying
Well,
old because we're the same age.
that's true. I'm getting up there.
No, we're going backwards, Kenny. I always like to say that.
Yes.
And you found your miracle leg thing. So
Yes.
it's a game changer. So there you go.
And Gretchen's making chicken. Where'd
Right.
she go? She just Gretchen.
On. He was obsessed with dinner. So we figured we'd let it go right there. But how about those greeting cards with the pregnant thing? That cracked me up. Anyway, yeah. So follow up on that. Anyway, I thank Kenny for his time. That was great. Okay, Dominic, come on in here. Where are you? All right.
Hey.
We are still here. We are live. We are doing it. Let's do some fan questions. See what you got, Dominic. What do you got?
Yeah, we have some.
Yeah. What are you wearing here? What's this look you got on? What do you?
So
what
this
do you
is
have going
Pirates
on?
hat right here, Charlestown Chiefs. Actually, the Paul Newman Reggie Dunlop shirt.
All right.
So representing
Okay.
Paul Newman is
All
my
right.
all-time favorite actor, and I love the movie. So why not? So
Why not?
that's
We
what
should
I'm
we should
rocking.
have a segment. What is Dom wearing today?
A lot of fashion faux pas in that one. I'll tell you that much.
All right,
All
go
right.
for it. Let's get
Yeah,
at
we
it.
have a diverse set of questions here. I picked out 3 that I thought kind of stood out. So let's start with this one. After Kenny was talking about the Seattle Supersonics, Big Princess chimed in and asked, do you think Seattle will be awarded an NBA franchise later this year? Ask Linda. Do you think that'll ever happen for Seattle, Linda?
Yeah, I hope it does. I mean, those fans were diehard. When I spent from 1989 to 92 in Seattle at KIRO TV, that was one of the first, my first live shot was at a Sonics game. It was so exciting. I mean, I was there back in the day when, Sean Kemp was there, Gary Payton was there. So many great, Xavier McDaniel. I mean, it was just a fun group, fun team. The fans loved the Sonics. I hope they return. I hope they come back. I know there's talk about Vegas, obviously the NBA expanding there, but Seattle is definitely in that conversation. And I know that fan base would do anything to get the Sonics back, and they can share that beautiful Climate Pledge Arena with the Seattle Kraken.
Absolutely. The Seattle, you mentioned him, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp. That's when I got into the NBA, Jordan, all that stuff. So that's right. And yeah, they deserve a team back, and absolutely they should have one. So some guy's brother chimes in with this one, Linda. What happened to Keith Olbermann? Was he always like that back in the day? Ask Linda.
I don't know. I think he disappeared off the face of the earth since we went at it on X, right? Whenever that was, 6 months ago. Yeah, some podcasts ask me, they go, has he reached out to you after all that? And, just Google this, guys. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't want to drudge it up. But no, he has not reached out to me. And so I don't know what he's doing. But no, he wasn't that way. Back in the day when working sports and at ESPN, I love working with Keith. I've said this a million times, how intelligent I thought he was, how smart he was, how great he was on SportsCenter. The team of he and Dan Patrick were amazing doing the big show. Every moment I got to work with Keith Olbermann, it was just, I had to pinch myself. He was just so funny and clever. And he was also a Rangers fan, but I like that as well. So yeah, I don't know. I wish he just kind of somehow got back into sports full time because people would be watching.
Yeah, could you imagine if he never went into the political landscape and just stuck to a sports topic or a sports show? He would have really flourished in a lot of those ways.
Absolutely, Dom. Absolutely. And again, people would watch it.
No doubt. Hey,
he didn't hire me as his agent. I wish he would. Then I can give me 20%.
There we go. Right. All right. Last question. This is an interesting one, I thought, too. We talked about LeBron the past couple shows, obviously going to the Sixers. One of none asks you this, Linda. What's your take on Bronny's career going forward after LeBron chose to play in Philly?
Some would say, what career? Oh, I don't know. Not me. I don't know. It's really bizarro. I can't see Sixers finding a spot for Bronny in Philadelphia. I'm really not sure. I don't know. I hope he finds his own team. I hope there's a team out there that believes in him and where Bronny doesn't need to be on the same team as dad. I hope he's ready for that next step. I hope he's been working hard in the off season. It's something I'd like to see. It would be great if he could prove himself that he could do this. He could do this alone. It's not just the genes of being, LeBron James's son that got him the opportunity, but he has real skill. And I hope he finds a place where he can show that off. So I don't know if Philly has any plans to add him to the roster with LeBron. I know this. I think Bronny, if he is a Sixer, he would live in Philadelphia, unlike his dad, who wants to live in New York City.
Yeah, no, I would like to see Bronny go out on his own and just try to survive. See if he can make the NBA. I think that would be the challenge to kind of look at.
Yeah.
Follow up real quick. What do you think of the dynamic between Dion and Shedeur? And because Dion, I guess, has been on the field with Shedeur and kind of been all over this. Is that good or bad for him?
Yeah, well, listen, it's whatever Cleveland thinks. And I know the coach and Deion Sanders had a nice conversation about it, and he's all for it. So as long as it doesn't become a distraction, I think it's fine. It's an interesting battle there. I heard Deshaun Watson talk about, he's been supportive of Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland, but Deshaun Watson wants that number one spot. And they're competing. It's one of the, hottest quarterback battles competition going on in training camps involving Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson. And there was some talk. I heard Deshaun Watson talk to the media. I think it was Sunday. It was over the weekend. And he had to address something regarding that he didn't like playing for Cleveland or living in Cleveland. And he had to tell the reporters that's not true at all. This is Deshaun Watson, as I go off on a tangent, because Deshaun Watson really wants this job. And Deshaun Watson is trying to tell reporters in Cleveland, I think Mary Kay Cabot had this report, that he loves Cleveland and he loves the people of Cleveland and he loves the city of Cleveland. And they've made a home in Cleveland. So he tried to deny any rumors that he didn't want to be in Cleveland. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know. I'm not firsthand. I haven't watched any of, only the little 10-second video clips of what they do in training camp. It's hard to tell who deserves that number one spot, but I'd be surprised if Shedeur Sanders beats out Deshaun Watson at this point for the number one job.
I agree with you. I think it's going to take a few games, but I don't think the way Deshaun's been playing in training camp and early on, I don't think he's going to survive the season for sure. I think they will give Shedeur a shot at some point, but
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. But a lot of these teams, a lot of these coaching staffs play it safe. And, they don't want to throw Shedeur. Listen, he's still young. You don't want to throw him into the fire just yet, even though he got some opportunity last season. Let's see how it goes the first 2 or 3 games with Deshaun Watson, and then get back to me.
I can tell you this much. I have a buddy that's a diehard Cleveland Browns fan, and he is not for Deshaun Watson whatsoever. He wants him off the team.
Yeah, he saw enough. I don't blame him. I mean, but we don't know. Maybe he's improved. Maybe he's got some of that magic back he used to have. Who knows? We haven't seen it. I know training camp doesn't mean anything. Preseason, for the most part, doesn't mean a lot either. I'd have to have a front row seat to see what's really going on there.
Absolutely. Right. Ugh. Who wants to be front row seat in Cleveland, though? No offense, guys.
You just offended them. Okay,
Oh,
Dominic D'Angelo,
All right,
you
I'm
just
done.
said it. I did not say it. Anyway, all right. So, all right, guys, that's it for the show. A lot of fun stuff. Hey, next show, which is Thursday, I am going to have a surprise guest, and he will be a staple on this show. I can't wait for you to meet him. And I'm going to keep it zipped up for now. So be on the lookout to my social media posts and clips. But anyway, putting a bow on this one. If you haven't already, I know it sounds cliche, but like and subscribe and share. Let people know this show exists. Let people know I do have hashtag total freedom and I do speak my mind. And you heard it at the first half hour of the show, stuff you've never heard from me before. So if you missed anything, just go back to the beginning. You know how to do it. So please subscribe. Really appreciate all of you. And I'll try to get and answer all of your comments. I do love when you chime in. And I do love when you give me feedback. And thank you for the advice about getting a microphone because already I feel like a podcaster person. Hopefully you don't rip the camera. Okay. Well, I don't know if we should work on the camera yet or not, but one step at a time, people. Anyway, thanks for joining me on the Linda Cohn Show. And we will see you on Thursday. Okay. Take care. Have a great day.